With the onslaught of recent leaks for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we actually have a really good idea of what the Pokedex is going to look like in the upcoming games. Let's break it all down. So big shouts to user DSDark11 on the PokeLeague subreddit for actually putting this image together. We have a lot of information based on the leaker Kaka, as well as the Riddler Khu, both of which have seemingly gone dark. We'll wait and see. Riddler actually made a post this morning, so who knows, these guys may still keep going. But we have a really good understanding of what Pokemon are going to be in the game and which Pokemon are not going to be in the game. And while there's still a lot of question marks about Pokemon that maybe are in between and we don't know yet, we actually have a really good idea of the Pokedex at this point. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of break it down, keep you guys updated on what's going on with that, and give my general thoughts and opinions. So let's just kind of dive in. The original Gen 1 starters are apparently not in the game. It seems as though all the starter Pokemon outside of the new ones, Fuecoco, Quaxley, and Sprigatito, are out of the game. But again, there's a lot of talks about this game getting DLC, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them added later on. It seems like the Beedrill line does not make the cut to the game, but the Pikachu and Raichu line obviously does. Moving forward, we have Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff making it into the game, as well as Venonat, Venomoth, Diglett, Dugtrio, Meowth, Persian, Psyduck, Golduck, Mankey, and Primeape. And of course, from our recent leaks, we actually believe that Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff have Paradox forms or Ancient forms, and Primeape is going to be getting a new evolution if you've been keeping up with the leaks. We know about Magnemite and Magneton making the cut, as well as Shellder, Cloyster, Ghastly's line up to Gengar, Drowsy, and Hypno also making it in. Coughing and Wheezing, as well as Chansey, are going to be making it in. And Tauros, Magikarp, and Gyarados making the cut. Tauros being a very special Pokemon, as from the leaks indicating that we're actually going to have 3 different forms of Tauros based on where you catch it in the region of Paldea. We know Eevee is going to make it into the game, as well as all of its evolutions, but it seems though there's not going to be a new evolution from what the leaker has told us. Unfortunately, Porygon is apparently not in the game, as well as the other fossil Pokemon. This game apparently features no fossils at all, so your Omanite, your Omastar, Kabuto, Aerodactyl, all those Pokemon are not making the cut. We go to Generation 2 now, and it seems as though we're not going to see any of the Chikorita line, or Typhlosion, or Feraligatr as expected, nor Sentret or Furret as confirmed by the leakers. I didn't confirm Dragonite at the end of Generation 1, but there is a statue with Dratini in it, so I do feel like Dragonite's line probably makes it in. Pichu, Igglybuff obviously gonna make it. Apparently the Flaffy line, Mareep, Ampharos gonna make it in. Hoppip, Skiploom, Jumpluff making the cut, but Apom and Ambipom subsequently not making the cut. We did pass over Sudowoodo, which is not confirmed on this list, but it was something that was teased or riddled by Riddler Khu, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Sudowoodo get some special treatment. Sunflora and Sunkern obviously making it in, as well as I mentioned, the evolutions. Murkrow makes it in. It was originally thought that Murkrow was going to have a new evolution. That seemed to be a misunderstanding, so I would not expect that at this point. Mischievous, however, does make it in with an Ancient form or a Paradox form, and Girafarig makes it in with a new evolution, as does Dunsparce, so a lot of love for Generation 2. That Dunsparce evolution is something I think a lot of people are looking forward to, but apparently it's just a bigger Dunsparce, so don't get your hopes too high. Teddiursa and Ursaring are going to make it into the game, as well as Delibird potentially getting a Paradox form from the recent rumors. Houndour and Houndoom also making it, but as I mentioned, Porygon 2 not going to make the cut. Blissey and the Larvitar Tyranitar line makes it in, but then we move to Generation 3 and we're going to be void of all those starters like Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip at this point. Wingull, Pelipper, as well as Gardevoir's line makes it in, and Swablu, Altaria, Seviper confirmed in trailers, in addition to Barboach and Whiscash. Unfortunately, we're not going to see those fossils, so Cradily, Lileep, Anorith, Armaldo, not gonna make it, and apparently Feebas and Milotic don't make it either. Tropius does make it, as does the Salamence line, which may be one of the Pokemon that actually does get a Paradox form. And then moving to Generation 4, we're not gonna see those starters either, according to Kaka, so don't expect to see Turtwig, Chimchar, or the Piplup lines. Starly, Staraptor, and Staravia are gonna make it, but our good friend Bidoof and Bibarel apparently don't. Again, the fossils are void to reiterate, so don't expect to see Cranidos or Bastiodon. But Combi and Vesequen seem to be making it in, and we've also got Drifloon and Drifblim, Mismagius, and Honchkrow, of course. I mentioned earlier Apom wasn't going to make it, so obviously Ambipom isn't either. But the baby Pokemon Happiny will, as will Riolu and Lucario. We've got a couple evolutions like Glaceon and Leafeon, as well as Magnezone to complete some evolutionary lines. But Porygon Z again will not make it, as Gallade will, and Rotom will, as we have the Auctioneer, which is going to have the different Rotom forms that you'll be able to obtain. Moving to Generation 5, it's pretty safe to assume again these starters are not making it. Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott line not going to make it in, nor is the Woobat and Swoobat line apparently. But Petalil and Lilligant do make it, and of course the fossils Tortuga and Archon do not. Zora and Zoroark are going to make it, as we know we've seen Hisui and Zoroark. And we see this Fungus Amoongus gonna make it, as we know Amoongus actually has a Paradox form. Joltik, Galvantula apparently don't make the cut, nor do Clink, Klinklang, or Clang, so don't expect to see those Pokemon. Cryogonal, however, we will see in the game according to the leakers. Pawniard, Bisharp, and potentially a new evolution of Bisharp has been noted for the game, as well as Larvesta and Volcarona. Volcarona being one of the Pokemon that actually has a future and a past Paradox form, which could be very, very unique to Volcarona. Moving on to Generation 6, we're not going to see those starters again, so don't expect to see Fennekin or Chespin or Froakie, but apparently we're going to see the Talonflame line, the Vivillon line, as well as the Floette, Flabebe, Go-Go, and Skidoo lines. This will be the first time Go-Go and Skidoo actually make it into a Pokemon game in the main region Dex since they were introduced back when X and Y first launched. Furfrou does not make it into the game, but Clauncher and Clawitzer do. Again, the Fossil's not going to make it, to reiterate, so don't expect to see Tyron or Tyrantrum, Amora or Aurorus, but we will see Sylveon and apparently the entirety of the Goodra line, and I believe that the leaker even said that both forms of Goodra are in it, so expect to see the Hisuian form too. Mega Evolution is apparently not in the game, so don't expect to see any of the Mega Evolution Pokemon. But obviously there's going to be this new mechanic, so that could be really neat to see if there's going to be these form changes. Before I move to Gen 7, I want to take a second and say make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you guys haven't done so yet, I post Pokemon videos every single day, and we are closing in on 2 million subscribers. It's funny to say, but make sure you guys subscribe. Seriously, I post awesome content every single day, and we want to, get a good about above 1 million, just in case things go downhill and I lose some people. So make sure you guys subscribe. Generation 7 means that we're not going to see Litten, Poplio, Decidueye, any of those Pokemon, nor will we see Toucanon, apparently, but Marini and Toxapex are going to make it in, apparently, as well as Lurantis and Fomantis. The Serena line does make the cut, but Minior does not. Kamala apparently makes it in, and Mimikyu makes it in. I'm a big Mimikyu fan, so I'm happy to see that, actually. But we're not going to see Meltan or Melmetal. And now moving on to Generation 8, the starters, of course, Grookey and Scorbunny and Sobble, not going to make it, but apparently Squovent and Greedent do. Choodle, Dreadnought, as well as the Colossal line are all been talked about, and we've actually seen the Colossal line in trailers. The Flapple line apparently doesn't make it, which really hurts my soul because I love Flapple a lot. Ursaluna does seem to be confirmed. Don't expect to see Hisuian Typhlosion or Samurott, but some of the various Hisuian forms like Lilligant and Zoroark, as well as Goodra and Sliggoo, in addition to Zoroark, should be making it into the cut. So that's a pretty comprehensive list and breakdown of what we know so far based on what the leaker has said, both Kaka and Riddler Khu, what we've seen in trailers, and kind of everything in between. Obviously, there may be changes, there may be things that are inaccurate, but I think that's a really good starting point for us to understand what the Paldea Regional Pokedex actually looks like. Let me know which Pokemon you definitely want to make it in, and is there anything you saw that got snubbed that you're pretty disappointed about? For me, I'm actually really sad to see Beedrill get snubbed again. I feel like that was a Pokemon that I would have liked to see make its return back into the game, but we'll have to wait and see. A lot of the bug types just undeclared at this point, so we really don't know, but we'll wait and see how that all plays out with new regional forms and paradox forms and much, much more. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.
Butterfree, go!